please download the Overwatch Collective app. So I'll break it down for you really quickly. So essentially, one of the gentlemen that we had on our podcast knows these people who create apps, and that's what they do for their living, right? They make money off of apps, and it's for profit. Well, they wanted to partner with a 501c3 nonprofit that could be the face of it. So they changed the name from Rebos to the Overwatch Collective. Our secretary, Kelsey, did a bunch of work with them, meetings, learning about apps. That's the stuff that you probably know about getting it all set up. So now, as of now, we have 400 users, give or take, in the app. And it's for Apple and Android. So even the people that have the green text that ruin every single group thread, you guys can download it too. And essentially what it is, it's because we always have our phones with us, our computers, our iPads. So it's basically a resource for you at your fingertips where you can be Greg Grogan, or you can hit one button and you can go into incognito mode and be completely anonymous. You have a social media aspect where you can create a profile. So Zach, it could be you on a horse with your cowboy hat. Tony, it could be you in the office or drinking wine in the ammo storage facility. And you could post pictures, videos. So it's kind of like a social media platform there.
Who can see you on this social media platform?
Anybody that downloads the app.
Okay. And these are all people that are wanting to go through your therapy program?
Not necessarily just going through the therapy program, but it's people in our community.
Okay.
So when you do download the app, you'll be asked a series of questions like, are you a first responder? Are you a firefighter? If you're a firefighter, then you get a red ring around your name so that while you're using the app, other users can see like, oh, this person posted this. There's a red ring around. They're a firefighter. Or for me, it's blue and green. So police officer and military. So that's an easy way to identify, like, if you're a spouse, significant other, military, first responder.
What does it look like if you're a spouse?
I don't know the color off the top of my head. There's a list of colors, but when you download the app, you click which one you are, if you're a supporter and all that.
It should be like hazard red.
Wow. Why you say that? No. No, I don't know off the top of my head what color theirs is, but essentially every single position has a color for them. So you have the social media aspect. You have, we just got our wellness center. So you have the veteran crisis line number. You have 988 where you can call or text straight through the app. And then with that, we're going to get our buddy program on there, our therapists. You also have access to other podcasts. So we have Dear Chiefs podcast, Wives on Fire. We have Ironsides podcast. We have Behind the Shield. We have all these other podcasts that align with our mission and our community at the Overwatch Collective. So it's supportive of first responders and service members where essentially anybody in our community that downloads the app can be like, hey, like instead of listening to the Overwatch Collective podcast, like I want to listen to Wives on Fire, where they're two spouses of firefighters out in Oregon where they talk about what it's like to be married to firefighters.
Yeah.
Which is a great resource for that part of our community. And you also have audio rooms, which is essentially, it's essentially like doing a podcast, right? So I can hop on an audio room with you guys through the app where it's kind of like a Skype call or a Zoom call where we can be hosting it and then people can join as we're live. And they could be, hello, you can join too, where they could be anonymous or they could be Zach or Tony. They can raise their hand and actually whoever's hosting it can click on their name. They can speak and ask a question, or they can type in the comments and ask a question. So it's like, can you elaborate more on equine therapy? And they'll be like, oh yeah, good point. Thank you for asking more elaboration. And then those save just like podcasts do. So you can go in and listen at a later date.
Nice. So you're like essentially going to be the Twitter for
limit with
X. You're going to be X for veterans and first responders.
Yeah, anything. Yeah. And the whole community. So, and then obviously there's more updates that need to come along with it too. But essentially through the app, you're going to have access to all of our buddies that I mentioned earlier, where you can contact them directly through the app. You'll be able to click on whatever state you're looking for a therapist in. So like say New York, for example, right? I'm a firefighter in New York and I download the app and I want to work with a therapist, but I don't want to go through my department. So I'm going to go on the Overwatch Collective app, say I'm in the state of New York, and then a list of the therapists that we contract with in New York are there. You can see their photo, email, bio, and then I do a podcast with every single one of them. So that person can take a few days, listen to a podcast with that person, and then make a conscious decision of who they want to work with.
Nice. And you can do that all in that incognito mode.
You can do it all in incognito mode. So as we talked about earlier, where it's super important, like for everybody to be like to ask for help, but like know that there's confidentiality, which for military and first responder, like it's like high school. Like we know everybody's shit. Yeah. Where like you hear about everybody's internal affairs complaints. If someone's getting in trouble or demoted in the military because they fucked up, everybody finds out about it. So why wouldn't they find out about you going through a dark time and potentially having nightmares, being suicidal, whatever, where you come to us, you don't have to worry about that at all.
See, that's cool. I don't know how many social media platforms exist that you can go into this incognito mode and acquire the resources that you're looking for while maintaining your privacy. Sounds like my kind of social media.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
well, I mean, this guy doesn't have any social media, so this might be the only one he actually
I'm like, hey, this one sounds good.
I am going to have you download the app after.
I will. 100%.
Yeah. So then the goal with the app is, so as of now, we're at like 400 users. When we hit that 1,000 user mark, then we're going to start getting advertisement space on there. So we'll hit up Oakley, G-Shock, all these like meal prep companies, anything that kind of is in line with our first responder and military community, and be like, hey, on this page, we can have your logo and a little blurb about what you do for X amount of money a month. And then with podcasts, we can have like bigger podcasts, bigger guests on and be like, hey, it's 99 cents for you to listen to this. And then people can also donate through the app. So the goal is to start making money through the app, which will come to us through the nonprofit, which means we can fund more therapy sessions.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that sounds good. Awesome. And then like when we get to a point where we're partnering and we have people coming and staying on the property, going through our robust program, they would do that through your app too, right?
They could, yeah.
Yeah.
You could do you literally, and you can use it as advertisement space as well. Right. So anybody can go on at any time and do an audio room. So like all of our therapists can go on and be like, hey, my name's Greg. This is the type of therapy that I do. If you're out there listening to this and you're looking for a therapist, this is kind of what I do. Or here's a little bit of insight on EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, or CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and just provide education and be like, hey, if you want to work with me or your department wants to contract with me, so they can do that. So it's a great advertisement tool. You happy now? That was like 4 times asking, finally broke down the app. Yeah. I wasn't trying to delay it. I promise.
It's way more than I was expecting. I was just like, okay, so it's going to be an app that you go in and then you click on which therapist you want. No, it's a whole social media setup. Like I was like, wow, wait, it was worth it. Yeah, it's way more than I was expecting.
I'm glad it was worth it. I'm glad it was worth it. So some departments have different apps where one's called Cortigo, where you kind of have the same thing where they pay like $50,000 a year and they have a list of therapists within the area of your department within like a 50-mile range. That has been tested by some of my friends and myself. Some of those therapists are no longer practicing or they're full and they're not taking any more clients. So you can imagine for the first responder that's finally taken that leap and reaching out for help to act like it's on them to seek the therapist and find out, and then to call them and be like, nope, we're not accepting. Like, all right, on to the next one. Nope, we're not accepting. At that time, when you finally have someone reaching out for help, it needs to be a smooth, easy process.
What fail-safes do you have in place to make sure that you don't fall into that same problem where your therapists are overbooked or they no longer take clients?
So we track all of that. So if for whatever reason they're like, hey, I'm at my max, we keep track of all of that. And then also as we progress and get bigger and bigger, the goal is to have 5 to 10 therapists in every single state So it's like if we have 2 that are at their max, we can always be like, hey, we have 2 that are at their max. They're going to be accepting new clients in a few months, but we also have 3 or 4 others that you.
So everybody knows, we have been setting up the stage for this, and we have purposely not talked about what the overall goal is. We've established that there's something that we can be doing here, and we have established that they have assets that will help, and that we have assets that will help. We have not really collaborated on how it's all going to work together, and we are going to build this program. And so we figured our first shot at thinking through this will happen right here on this stage, and then we'll go from here.